Hello, good morning, beautiful Limitless Mum community. Amber Cherelle coming to you live today, and I'm accompanied by the beautiful Gemma Norris. So I'm going to introduce Gemma in just a moment, but as usual, if you are watching live with us and you're managed to be here live, say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know that you can see us, hear us loud and clear. And if this is your very first time seeing anything live inside the community, welcome to our world. Welcome to the space. Now, we have four pillars inside the Limitless Mum community, and one of those pillars is well-being. And that's because you are your greatest asset to your business. Without you, nothing happens. The vision doesn't exist, the mission doesn't exist, and your products, offers, and services don't get into the world to have the impact that they were designed to have without you. So today I've brought here Gemma, who is the founder of the Infinity Health Hub. Hope I said that correctly, the Infinity Health Hub, which is a beautiful, beautiful space. And I've had the pleasure of having a sneak peek inside. Now, me and Gemma had a chat a couple of weeks back now, which was incredible. And I asked Gemma if she would come here and share some of her wisdom with us all. Now, when we were talking, one of the things that came up for me that I was like, I am super curious to find out how that fits into your not only your work, but how that can help us with our health and well-being as entrepreneurs and as mums and as women in general, was eco-conscious living and what that actually means. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to ask Gemma very beautifully and very happily to just introduce herself to you guys a little bit and tell us, what is eco-conscious living first and foremost? That's going to be my first question.
Oh, well, thank you, Amber. Thank you for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to share insights and wisdom that I've been working with the body basically for 16 years now. And it's been a real learner in terms of the wisdom that it shares when you give yourself the permission to listen and to observe is this beautiful miracle that we are all habiting in. And what I see and I've come to the understanding is that actually when we're not in alignment to ourself, to our truth, to our desires, to our soul, what our purpose and everything that we're here for, the body will show us what that is. And it will show us either through pain, mentally, physically, and disease ultimately. So that's if we can recognize that our body is like this built-in blueprint of who we're here to be and how to navigate that. And it's about a learning of listening and connection to ourselves and to our body, then we've got the greatest asset that we have to take us on this. And so when we start to connect and listen with a little bit more observation rather than the emotional response that we have, and a lot of us women, and my journey's been about the self-sabotage, body dysmorphia,
Mm.
and learning to love myself. I'm still on that journey,
Yeah.
and I think it always will be. But it's starting to hold more compassion and love for myself. So that's really how I work. I work through the body, through understanding the layers, the subconscious, the belief systems that are held right down onto a cellular level and an energetic level. And when we tap into that with consciousness, we can start to become the alchemist and find that gold, that emotional intelligence.
Did you like just feel my sacral flip then at the word alchemist? I was like, well, hello, Gemma. Let's talk about some alchemy, shall we? I mean, that like all of this is wonderful. And as you know, this fits so well into what we were talking about in terms of human design. And a lot of what we do in this space is looking through the lens of human design and looking at the wisdom that our body carries. And I love how your like message or awareness fits into this of like, we can't really understand the wisdom that our body carries unless we're consciously tuning in and tapping into and listening to ourselves. And I just want to say, a few years ago, where were we? 2021-ish, I think, there or thereabouts. I can't remember. But I remember going through this really heavy period. Not womanly period, although that probably happened too, but this heavy period in my body where my body was screaming at me to stop what I was doing. I was absolutely beyond exhausted and ignoring it. I was aching in certain places. I was fatigued constantly. Um, like my body just, I don't know if you ever have those experiences where your body just feels unwell, but you're not unwell. It's like almost like the sense that you've got a flu, but there is no cold or anything with it. And I don't know. It took me quite a few months to get to that place of having awareness of that it wasn't just the run-of-the-mill tiredness or just, my body was talking to me. My body had something that it wanted to share. So tell me a little bit, Gemma, about eco-conscious living and what that means to you and where that fits into
Okay.
the bigger picture.
So for me, it begins through connection to ourselves, to our bodies, to our womb, to our cycles, and then through that, through to our connection to Earth. So women are the gatekeepers of life. We hold that in our womb, which, we hopefully we'll maybe express that a little bit later. But ultimately, we are the gatekeepers. Months would have been 13 according to the moons and the cycles, our periods, the menstruation, everything. The women would have been the body clock. They would have been the wisdom of what we are
Mm.
connecting into Earth. And we have forgotten that, and the patriarchal system has taken women away from that, and women are struggling to stay in that system. It's exhausting. It's a fatigue that it's not a system we're meant to fit in. It's never designed for us, and it's not designed for any human. But ultimately not for women especially, because we need rest. We need to be in conscious flow to the cycles that are Earth, that our bodies are in. Because when we come out of that, this is when we get resistance. This is when we create resistance, we create friction, we create heat, we create inflammation, and that's the root to all forms of illness. So right down to joint aches. It doesn't have to be disease, it can be pain in the body. So for me, eco-conscious is about the first going through the layers of connection to self, to earth, to our womb, to the intelligence, and then being able to live with that, live in those cycles, be honoring of those cycles when we need rest, especially when we're bleeding. We need to be able to have that time off to be able to rest in that stillness. And equally with the cycles that Earth, the equinox, the solstice, when we're coming now moving through autumn and the equinox that we've got, for me, I'm really starting to see, and whether I equally are feeling this too, is this desire to kind of, what I would say is, withdraw and
Mm.
retreat, which for me, from a safety perspective, that would have been what I would have done in survival. I would have retracted, I would have retreated, which is triggering that is what's coming up as well. But for me, if I can alchemize that, it's about consolidation. It's about bringing my energy in where I've lost it, where it's mentally been taken and farmed elsewhere, where I've given too much outside of myself. And it's about consolidation through healthy boundaries. So, and I feel that's what I'm navigating. And I imagine many women will be doing that, because this naturally is what Earth is doing too. So that's how I see it. And then bringing in nutrition, bringing in the right food at that time, and the herbs and what nature is growing, and bringing that in. Because, for instance, springtime, you have all your nettles, you've got your dandelions. That's perfect for the liver. That's what we need. Our body needs that. And so it's looking out at nature's garden and being able to bring that into all of your practices.
That's really interesting that you bring up the dandelions and just the connection to the liver as well during springtime. As soon as you said that, the immediate thing that I thought of was like housekeeping. We do the spring clean. It's like, well, this is our home, this is our vessel. It's time for the spring clean and nature. And this is the thing when we look at eco-conscious living through this lens that you're talking about, it's like nature is providing. I have this belief that the universe always provides us with everything that we need. Like everything that we need is accessible to us. We only have to open up to look for it, open up to see it, and open up to receive it. And we can talk about that in terms of manifestation, but I literally mean the world has been provided us with every medicine that we need for our bodies, every tool that we could possibly want to support us in our lives. Like the resources are there for us. And how beautiful is that? So what I'm hearing from you and what you're telling me is that it's not just that those things are available to us, it's like they're literally provided to us at the right time of year, at the right time of our like need evolutionarily as well. But throughout the cycle of the year, it's all there. It's all there for our health needs, and we need to know how to tap into it. That's perhaps collective wisdom that we've lost over these years since we've moved into a more technological era. And I think there's so many of us who are becoming aware of practices and ways of being that one we've lost, but also that we want to bring back into our lives. I'd really love to talk about the cycle and our bleeds and how that really does affect us. Because ultimately, I have noticed the older I get, the heavier my bleeds are, and the more tired I become beforehand, the more I'm called to rest, the more I need to rest. And at the same time, I've also grown this greater awareness around the womb space and its connection to our sacral center. And the fact that the sacral is the center of like creativity. It is where we create from in our businesses and all of the ideas and inspiration pours out. And I don't know about you, Gemma, I'd love to hear from your side of things what we can do first and foremost to support ourselves during our cycles as business owners and how that fuels our creativity. Because I know when I do take that rest, when I go inwards and I look at the gate one, which is the gate of the creative in human design, and I look at that and it's all about stillness. It's all about being in the void. It's all about like allowing there to be space for creativity to be birthed through. And so, yeah, let's talk. Just let's go a little bit deeper
Yeah,
into that for me,
so
Gemma.
let's do it. So is gate one in the sacral?
Gate one's actually in the G center, but it is the gate of creativity.
Right.
Um, And essentially, when we're looking at the G center, we're looking at directions. We're looking at the direction of energy. So, although it's not in the sacral center, it is connected to creativity. And we often think of our passion and creativity connected to the womb space because it is life birthing energy. It is our creative force.
Mm. Oh, I've just literally had something that just
Oh,
flashed through my mind in terms of what I've recently written about our perspective of what we think God is, and
mm,
the creator and the observer. And for me, you're just literally that G is the energy of the observer of creator, and actually the womb that is where holds Sophia is the womb of creation. She is the universe that brings. So for her to create, she needs an observer. Okay.
yeah.
And it's actually that brings something into fruition, to brings it, births it. So that's what you've just made me dive into a little bit deeper there. So it's like the G center is like the seed to be able to be planted into the womb to create.
The G Center, I mean, this is going deep into some of the back end of human design that we don't so often speak about. So I'm like, oh yeah, please, let's go there. Because the G Center is the magnetic monopole. So it's where we have what is known as the design crystal and the passenger crystal. In other words, the consciousness and the very human form being pulled together into the center of the being. This is where we are being directed by. That's why it's known as the center, like one aspect of it is known as the center of direction, because it is what holds us together as consciousness, as spirit, as soul, as human. This is where it lies within the G center. And of course, part of that is the conscious observer. It's the soul aspect of us inside this physical vessel being concentrated, but literally observing this life, observing this world, observing this universe. So, I mean, that parallel there.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible because it literally is with how it's recognized in science now is something can't exist unless there's the observer. So if this feels like, are you observing in alignment to your truth, to your
Mm.
power, to love? Unconditional love is what I see as the Sophia. That's where we all are in the journey of returning back to that womb of unconditional love, and everything that isn't your truth. It's the illusion, the of disconnect, the fears. And so bringing in the equality, the mirroring of that would then mean that you're birthing in alignment to what you're truly here to be. So that feels really incredible. But in terms of like for the womb and our cycles, is certainly we do need to be still. And there's a great action in that stillness. We are conditioned to be busy and doing. And I'm certainly feeling the energy, the clapped out Cinderella seems to be moving out of me right now. It's just like, oh, I see. Yes, I'm not here just to do and provide and serve. Actually, I'm not here for that physical. I'm here for the emotional serving now.
Mm,
This feels like I'm moving through a cycle as a mum. As my children get older, I'm like, I'm not here to do things for you because that makes me exhausted. And then I'm not mentally, emotionally available for you, which is actually what you really need at this point. You don't need someone doing it for you. So I'm feeling that's sort of all equally. We'll have cycles moving through us, whether it's a daily cycle, a monthly cycle, a yearly cycle, a life cycle. These are all kind of moving through us all at the sort of same time, a little bit like I'm seeing now as the planets orbit,
mm.
there's a dance going on. So yeah, but in terms of that stillness and our bleed is like a real point of us being able to let
Mm.
go of all what we have absorbed in the feminine body that is of the illusion of fear, of disconnect. I see the womb lining is kind of like a black hole that has absorbed everything. Women and their bodies, abuse, rape, suppression. It's kind of been held within the womb as protection of the light that's the white light that's Sophia within. And when we're in stillness and we consciously connect this space, connect from our hearts to our womb to allow ourselves to release, we will be releasing a lot of pain, a lot of disconnection. And get closer and closer to the light that we truly are, if that makes sense. I sort of see a black hole, the white hole's surrounded by the black hole, which is our womb lining, our blood. And so
Mm.
where we give light to that pain and we alchemize it to our inner gold, to be emotional intelligence, then we start connecting deeper to the power that we are.
I'm literally just immersed in that visual right now as well. Like really, really super powerful. And I think there's a lot to be said about our own healing, like our own healing journeys, our own ability to heal ourselves, our own ability to actually take the time and realize how important that is, how important it is for us to honor that time, to honor it as sacred, to give ourselves that space. And you hit on something really important, that masculine do energy, like because the paradigm that we've been in and goodness, I cannot wait for us to continue this shift out of towards as we move. But this paradigm that we've been in has kept us very busy. And I just want to say to anyone who's listening to this that actually is here going, yeah, I feel like I've been running on a treadmill, whether it be in your business, whether it be with parenting in your children, whether it be with, giving to loved ones, family members, caring for elderly family members who like whatever it is you've been giving all of your time, energy, and attention to throughout the month. And like so much of that care, sorry, I just like another thought that popped in is so much of the care that we're giving to our businesses, to our clients, to our family members isn't just outward pouring. Like we're literally absorbing. We take on their fears, we take on their emotions, we take on their stress from a place of care, from a place of compassion. But we forget that we are also human and that not all of that is ours to carry and not all of that is ours to hold. We were never meant to hold it. We were never meant to store it in our bodies. And so when Gemma was talking about fear, what came to mind was how fear really impacts our physical vessel, the cortisol levels that increase because we're holding on to fear, how our body actually chemically changes when we are holding on to fear or worries or concerns, how we don't always we feel the mental, we hear the mental, we've got that narrative going on. We're often aware of the emotional impact, but we're not always aware of the physical impact that's actually having long term and detrimentally on our physical vessel, on the vessel that houses us all. And so, Gemma, what can we do? What kind of practices or what do you recommend people start to do first and foremost around this cycle? So other than rest, I know we've spoken about rest and having that stillness and taking that time to go inwards, but is there anything else that we can become aware of or to do to support ourselves?
Definitely. I mean, in terms of just giving yourself space for stillness, you probably have to go a few challenges just to give yourself that permission. So it would be, yes, I'm going to give myself some stillness and space. I recognize it, but you will find a resistance. You will find that it will come up and go, well, I need to be doing this. And so it would be about, okay, I've made that conscious choice. Now I need to observe what the resistance is to that, because that resistance will be the gold in terms of telling you where your fears and illusions lie to not being in your power and being in that space, being in your feminine energy. So you will find the transition to that will be huge. And if you can give yourself space through as you're giving that self that rest, to journal, to breathe, to meditate, to become conscious of where the resistance is, will be really interesting. And rather than reacting to that resistance, then just doing something else. It I would say that would be like the really first part. If something is not, if someone hasn't got that practice going already, where it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to be bleeding, I'm going to do less, and doing that, actively doing that, shall I say, actively resting, um, the first thing is to look at what's stopping you from doing that in the first place. And that will be the gold. And I would also say is that actually when you can get through that and be in stillness, active stillness with self, with your heart, with your womb, you're giving yourself that permission of what you're releasing, what you're alchemizing, what you're letting go. And then you're going shifting through as you so if I say you see that black hole, that blood lining is releasing, it's letting go of all your fears, your disconnects, and releasing and coming into that light that is the fear, the womb, the of sacral center of being able to create, to manifest, to bring to life. You sit within that within your heart with an alignment to what is it you wish to create. And it's not about, right, I'm going to create and off I go and go and do it. You're literally just sitting, allowing your body going, what is it that we want to give birth to now? What do we want to bring seed? And even visualizing your bleed after that, the latter part of going, this is the seed that I want to bring. You can even actively take some of your blood and pour it into a little bit of fresh water, a stream or the sea, and you're bringing that consciousness back to consciousness that births everything. Water is what gives birth and life to everything.
I love that, Gemma. I absolutely love that. What gold. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Um, oh, beautiful, beautiful. What a practice. And the cleansing, that act of the water, for me, that just signifies the cleansing that we're doing. And the cleansing, that was where I was going a moment ago as well, that I totally forgot that I was saying because I went off on another tangent. But the it's important for you and it's important for everyone else around us. The more we're healing ourselves, the more we're also supporting the collective, the more that we're supporting the women in this community, the more you're supporting your children, your kids. Like it's not just for us, but it starts with us. Like it absolutely starts with us.
Definitely.
There is a question in the community.
Excellent.
It's a really
Yay.
easy one to answer, by the way. It's a really super easy one. How
Okay.
old are your kids, Gemma? Is
How
what
old? Oh, I can, yeah, 12 and 14. So it's two boys.
two boys.
So one more interested in being self dependent, independent, but the other one not. So yeah, that's where I've got. Yes. So it's an interesting one, and I think women have been, and our mums would have done it, our grandmothers would have done it, is that kind of you're serving all the time, and that's what your language of love might have been, is that I'm doing something for you. And actually that is the message that I'm showing, being shown, that is actually that isn't the language of true love from the
Mm,
feminine who's truly in her power, because
mm.
she's the emotional support that you come to, or the wisdom center, the wise one. This is the cycle that I feel that perimenopause and menopause is transitioning us women into that. And we're supposed to be running around like headless chickens. And because we're just not there, we cannot be present when we're doing that.
Course, of course. Give me one moment, Gemma, because all I can hear is the dog scratching at the door. So I'm going to ask you a
Okay.
question that I think will also take that a little bit further in, and then I'm going to open the door and let the dog in before she goes crazy.
If you want to be
Um,
part of it.
and then we can't hear anything. So my question to you is, what do you so you spoke about the like that transition from perimenopause into that wisdom era of the feminine, like I kind of think of this as the well keeper, the sagacity that we come and dip into as we need it, and we're holding that space. And for you having teens, I don't have teens yet, so this is enlightening for me as well. Where do you think that transition period kind of begins for you as a mother? Like, and I think we're always kind of handing the baton over a little bit as we go. Um, but yeah, has there been a tipping point for you, I guess is the question that I'm asking.
Yeah, I would say the tipping point would be one, knowing in my body, like in terms of am I experiencing exhaustion and doing too much? So my body will probably instantly tell me you're not, you're putting too much energy out. So that will be fatigue would be certainly the body would be sharing that with me. I think as they start moving into teenage years, certainly them moving into like secondary school, there is a sort of asking them to sort of more step in to so I can only express from a boy perspective is that actually you're not there to mother them anymore.
Mm.
You're not let's face it, how many people have got husbands that like want to be mothered? It's just like we need to break that shit now with our sons, okay? This is about them to be dropping up, stepping up as a man, not a boy in a man's body, just because they've grown and aged, right? So
Yeah.
this, I feel, as I'm talking now, as having Kevin this space to share this, is really about for us women to bring our men into the world that are very emotionally connected to themselves, that they honor the feminine energy. And how can they do that if we're not doing it for ourselves?
Lead as you wish to see the world evolve.
Yeah.
Lead out as you wish it to be. What a beautiful, powerful message as well. I I have a preteen, so he's literally just gone into high school, and but we have other emotional mental struggles. And so when you said like I've got one of them that wants to, is ready, he wants the independence. The other one's like, but no, just please continue to do it for me. I absolutely definitely have that second scenario going on. And it's been really interesting, like trying to hand over more of that. And I think this goes in so many areas of our lives. So you speak about the partner that perhaps it feels more like you're mothering or guiding or, having to do all of the things for, that can bear a lot of weight on us that then takes a toll on our business as well. When you want to pour into something that you're passionate about or pour into something that you want to create, at the same time, you're having to support everybody else with their lives and their creations and feel like you're having to take the weight of the world on your shoulders. That can have this inner conflict going on with you.
Yeah.
And then we have the guilt that comes up for putting time and energy into the business and not with this, or we have the shame that comes up, and like that can get really muddied as well. And so just hearing what you were saying there, like I hear the undertone, and I'd love to know if you agree with this, that beyond, but behind all of that is taking back personal responsibility of how we set our own boundaries and how we carry ourselves and what we're available for as we move through different eras of motherhood and business and life. Is that we tend to look at other people and ask them, step up, you take more of this. I feel it with my son sometimes. I'm like, you can do that for yourself. Please just do it. But it's not always about that. It's about how available we've been, how
Mm.
available we're making ourselves. And it's almost taking our energy back, I feel. It's like it's reclaiming some of our energy
Yeah.
for ourselves, which in turn hands responsibility back over to them. But it's without the pressure, it's without the force, it's without the struggle. It's more of us bringing ourselves back. back in.
Completely. And I feel, like I said earlier, it's like this consolidation. It's not withdrawal from a perspective of disconnect. It's a consolidation of oneself in one's body, with one's consciousness and just your whole energy field. And we have to really realize the power that we have when we're in that space, and how the power that we can influence through inspiration. We don't sometimes always have to say anything. I've seen that, like, for instance, deal with a lot of the chakras. The crown is like our energetic connection to the field. We need to know, are we in consciousness of that? Are
Mhm.
we just bleeding our energy out through that into the field, or are we holding like a healthy boundary there? And actually, through intention can often be enough. We don't necessarily always have to use our throat. Doesn't then come down to the throat, which is the vocalizing of our boundaries. Sometimes actually just through the intention that we hold it, but we know that the throat, if we need to. And actually, when you can hold space to consciously play with that, and you start changing your energetic field, you can then observe how is it influencing. I mean, I've had this with a client that's come to me for trauma work, and obviously just ridiculous unhealthy relationships, and the children have been sort of obviously witness to that. And through 3 sessions of her work and her loving herself and accepting herself on a deeper level, her was going, "You're different, mummy. What is it that you're doing?" Which made me cry when she told me that. And I'm just like, wow, she's stepped on in for her. And because she's done that, she is now supporting her daughter. But she's done it for her first, um, which is the important message. And then that daughter doesn't have to go through 40 years worth of shite to kind of have to find where her boundaries are, that behavior isn't acceptable, that she needs to love herself. So her mum has broken that pattern generationally because she's choosing herself, and that's not selfish.
Freaking ripple effects, the impact, the ripple effects. And it's putting down the shame and the guilt because it isn't. And, again, another favorite phrase of mine is what serves you serves everybody else around you,
Yeah.
where we can hold that and know that with truth. And what a beautiful example from one of your clients to share, Gemma. Thank you
Oh, you're
for
welcome.
sharing that because we need more stories. We need more evidence. We need more proof because the stories that we have going on in our subconscious mind, the stories that we've been fed over a lifetime, the stories, the beliefs, the patterns, the behaviors that we've learned to accept as normal, that we've, even when in our soul self we feel they're so wrong, our mind will tell us that that's the way it is, or this is how it's always been, or whatever it is, doesn't give us enough evidence of the other side of the coin, of the other possibility. Now we get to be that evidence, we get to create that evidence, we get to create that truth. But it's also so powerful when we've got people like you and clients like yours that can share those stories, that can show up and be the evidence
Yeah.
of another way that is possible for us. And the idea of eco-conscious living being this reclamation almost of our femininity, a reclamation of the fact that we are I can even say this word, secular beings, that we are connected to everything that is around us, and that is so vital for our health, for our well-being, and for the well-being of the collective, that we do reconnect and that we do come back into that. Um, Suzanne says, so I just read this out. Definitely, my mom still mothers my brother, trying to stop her doing that so much for my son. So it also filters down from like the,
Chills. Yeah.
the from the grandparent generation as well, and we can sometimes feel like we're pulled between these two facets. There's the young ones that we have an idealism or a desire to change things for them and the way that we lead, and also the pressure of the ones that have always led us, that we've always turned to guide us, and we're starting to see things differently, and managing that emotionally can be a challenge as well.
Yeah. I mean, that could be huge, because that could also be just bring up a sense of lack of self-worth. If you've always seen a sibling being treated a bit differently, that could be bringing up your own sort of beliefs and of self, because if you you could look at it differently now intelligently and go, well, that isn't the case. But as a child, that might have been felt very different. And that will still be held in within your body unless you process that. Also, suppression of your emotions, because often we'll have an emotion, but we don't give it validation. So we suppress it. So the sacral area, which is where all emotions sit, that gets shut down. So again, it's going to be doing this menstrual work, and this sacred work is about all these layers that may be disconnecting you from your power. But as I was talking, and as you were talking, I was just feeling is that there's three aspects of the feminine. It's the maiden mother, and they call it the crone. I like to call it the wise one, because the crone just has connotations to the witches, right? Which is
Yeah.
like old hag, get rid of, which is very interesting how the patriarchal system has created that image.
Mm.
Okay. So the wise one is the forgotten part of the feminine, which is what we're shifting into when we're navigating perimenopause and menopause. We are shifting into that wise one. But that's been a forgotten part of the feminine. So as we've navigated motherhood, maybe we just don't see there's a purpose beyond motherhood. So we continue on mothering.
Oh.
And so we keep trying to mother our children because we don't recognize there's another role. That's actually not the doing, it's the being. And there's this well of wisdom that you can only do when you hold that space. So I feel we're awakening that part of ourselves.
I feel the tears coming. I can feel that as well because it just it's so much resonance there, Gemma. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It reminds me so much of the phases of the sixth line in human design with our three phases. I won't go too deep into that now because we don't have a lot of time and it would require time. But there are those three phases, the phases of the childlike play, the gathering of the wisdom, then the testing the wisdom out, and then being the living embodiment of that wisdom, which goes very hand in hand of what you were saying about the ripple effects of like when you do it for you, it ripples out to others. So that sixth line energy filters all the way through that as well. It was really beautiful. Um, so I know we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to kind of start wrapping us up. Let me just check the comments again, though. I don't want to miss anything. Yes, emotions get suppressed to keep the peace. That's always said. Emotions get suppressed to keep the peace.
But you sacrifice yours in doing that.
Oof, oof. I felt that. I felt that. I felt that. So I think what I want to bring this round to is really about you, Gemma. I just want to bring it back to you because you've shared so much freaking gold with us. And I know you have so much more to give. And I know that there are going to be so many mums that resonated in here with various different layers of this conversation today that saw themselves in their own patterns, whether it be overworking and not giving them the space for the stillness, whether it be, you know, always serving and never allowing themselves to be in the being, whether it be the generational impact and the things that they want to shift and change or the trauma that they carry. Like, we've covered so many freaking bases in the past 40 minutes, like delicious gorgeousness. If you can see those patterns within yourself, if we can see those patterns within ourselves, and we want to come and change that, we want to shift that, we want to heal some of that, we want to do that for ourselves so that we physically feel better and are able to show up for the things that matter to us in our lives, be it our business or our families. Um, but also so that we can show up for ourselves, you know,
Mm.
be and experience life the way that we want to be and experience it. But we know there's things that we need to shift. We know there's things that we need to heal. We know there's things that we want to work with. And we want to step more into our feminine. Took me a long time to even really understand what my feminine was, what the feminine was, because it just wasn't a world that I lived in. It took me a very long time to even grasp the concept logically, let alone physically, and to actually really allow myself to embody it. And that's still a very big journey that I'm on. So, what can we do? I know you've got the Infinity Health Hub. I know there's some other things that you've been birthing in the background as well. So, just tell us how we can come and experience more in your world.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Amber. Well, upon the platform, the Infinity Health Hub, there's stages of wherever you're at, basically. So I have what I call the love to heal, which is the fundamental learning to love oneself and accepting oneself. So it's the listen, observe. Through visualization and meditation, you're in power. So I have my Love to Heal course and a book that supports that. So you may want to start off with the book, see if that resonates, and then you can grow it into a course that has the meditation, the deeper levels of questioning and becoming curious yourself, and creating through meditation the neural pathways that you actually desire. So you start releasing yourself from the old neural pathways, the patterns, the beliefs that have got you stuck. And so you, through that consciousness, you can start creating what you actually want. And then it's evolved more as I've come into the feminine energy, more even what has been shown as me as the rose lineage, is actually about connecting deep into this, deep into the Persephone, the gold that lays within us. And so there's a 3-day rose lineage activation, but I've incorporated that now into a container that I'm nearly closing. Don't quite want to close it yet. I just keep stepping each Friday, Venus Day, and just go, right, what is it that you need to share with me today? And I've called this the Daughters of the Golden Rose.
Mm.
And this is a meditation practice and to really tune into the wisdom that is in your body. I've called it sacred conscious embodiment. And it's gently unearthing all the layers that have us disconnected from our power. And it's just gradually, slowly, gracefully helping us release that. So yes, there's, depending where you're on your journey, you can access these different layers through that.
Beautiful. And what I have done for anyone watching now or on the replay, there is Gemma's link on the description of this post to her link tree. So you can click on that and go and find everything that she's got available, everything that she's up to. Go get the book. I'm going to go get the book because I love a good book and I want to have a read. But yeah, you can follow Gemma here on Facebook, follow her over on Instagram, go follow her socials, go get involved in her world and just immerse yourself. Um, and yeah, go and have a look inside the Infinity Health Hub. Like I said at the very beginning, I've already been inside. It is beautiful. It like just go and take a peek at the membership as well. But thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you for being here with us today and just taking us on a deeper level. These are the conversations we should be having. These are the conversations that are going to help us to expand as human beings, as women. These are the conversations that are going to help us to change the freaking world ultimately. And each of us are doing that in our own different ways, in our own unique ways. But there's one thing that we can't do that without, and that is ourselves. And Gemma is just superb, a wealth of knowledge. The
Thank
link isn't showing, so maybe you can put it in the comments too. I will absolutely drop it in the comments. I don't have it to hand right now. I will come back and drop it in the comments. I will also create a whole other post. It's also in the description of this event, so it will be everywhere. We will make sure that Gemma is visible and that you can get in contact with her and get in touch. But she is also tagged in this post as well, so go and find her. You can go and find her, but I'll make sure her details are available to you all. Final words of wisdom, Gemma. If there's one thing that you would want anyone within the community to take away with them from today, what would it be?
Oh, I would say the words that literally dropped into my head is that you're enough. You are perfect just the way you are, and everything that you need is already within you. So, yeah, they were the words that literally dropped in. I am enough.
I am enough. I'm just going to keep that frequency with us today, ladies. I am enough. Okay, thank you very, very much for your time. I will be back later today for our Empowered Entrepreneur Live Extravaganza call. That will be around about 1 p.m. So I will see you ladies then. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will speak to you all soon.